Dave and I are standing in Sunny Nook, which is just down the road from Aotearoa Park, which really copped a lot of the floods. The supermarket down the road was completely flooded out. Just underneath the camera right there, there is a 1.5 metre pipe. It's about up to about Dave's chest, and he's 2 metres tall.
2 metres?
Maybe, but yeah, but even more than that. It's probably up to his chin. So that's the diameter of the pipe, and that couldn't take it. Filled up, spilled out. There's 5 football fields over there, and just went right through there, and then filled that up, and then right over into the street.
It was practically a lake.
A lot of water.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's going to be a lot of financial consequences here, Dave. What, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, there absolutely is. And on the one hand, I kind of feel bad talking about this sort of stuff when the urban search teams are still looking for people in Hawke's Bay. But at the same time, we don't want to sound like politicians and say, well, now's not the time. But this really does tie into something we've talked about before, and that's productivity, and productivity versus efficiency specifically. In New Zealand, we've got a reputation for the whole number 8 wire mentality, and sometimes our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness. What I mean by that is that we don't tend to do things properly. We tend to do things as quickly and as cheaply as possible. And a really good example of that, if I look at the ultra-fast fibre broadband thingy-majiggy rollout, most of that went really well, but there's quite a number of cases where there's been some dubious wiring for the last bit, where they've run along a fence that's falling over or something stupid like that. And I think we're seeing that same sort of thinking with our infrastructure, roading, etc. We're too conscious about the efficiency, not thinking about the long-term productivity. And so now we're looking at places like Kumu, where it's flooded, I don't know how many times in the last 12 months. The Esk Valley, parts of it's still underwater. It's the second major flood in 5 years. Just round where we are, we've had two flooding events so far this year. And February it ain't even over yet.
So it'd be a very, very brave politician to say we're never going to see this again. It's going to happen.
It is.
And look, it just demonstrates this whole place should be ripped up and actually looked at again for actually getting the water. Or the worst of the worst, Dave, and I hear politicians are talking already, relocating cities. Relocating people, relocating farms, all those sort of things, forestries, everything, because of the damage that's been done.
Absolutely, and look, I'm politically ambivalent, I dislike them all, but I don't see any politician who's yet come out over and above going, oh, this is going to be a problem, that's come out with, here is what we're going to do to address it, because it is going to happen again.
Sum up your advice, what you're saying is, efficiency in getting our productivity up can compromise these factors, and it can come and bite us.
Efficiency and productivity sometimes go hand in hand, but sometimes come back to bite us in the backside. So we should be thinking much, much more long term, both in business and I'd like to think in government too, but I won't hold my breath.